It's Dan the podcast, man, and I'm all about highlighting people's journeys, and I'm on the hunt looking for incredible people with stories that deserve to be told. Well, here we are, another episode of Highlighting the Journey with Dan the podcast, man. Today's guest is, I think he's my ex-supervisor. He was in a supervisor's position, but I got now, obviously, a dear friend of mine. I got Jon McGowan here.
Dan, thanks for having me. And I feel like you and I kind of go way back at this point.
Isn't it? So we first met in 2019. It was right before COVID. We were in the prime of like, we were rolling.
Yeah, it was 2019. Yeah, it was 2019.
Yes. And we're on the job on the construction site to give some people some context, and we didn't know what the hell was going on, whether we're going to work the next day, and we had to get specialized permits. It's like, is this crucial work, foundational work? And it was a very strange time.
That was a crazy time. I mean, that project in particular was definitely an interesting one.
Well, I think it was a cool job because when I got to the site, so let's back it up a little bit. The only reason that we know each other is because somebody forgot to wear pants and decided to wear sweatpants to work. So, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Wait.
You have no idea?
I don't remember this one. Which one?
So what happened was the previous safety manager that was from my company was wearing sweatpants. He was showing up late.
That's right. I forgot about this.
Yeah, so that's the only reason why we have this podcast here today is because somebody forgot they couldn't wear pants in the morning.
See how important it is to wear pants?
It's. I don't know how, I always think, have you ever watched Seinfeld?
Of course I've watched Seinfeld.
It's that part where Jerry's like, she sees George come in sweatpants, so it's like, you're just giving up. Like, you just like, you said, this is who I am, and you don't even try to enter society looking like a fashionable, like, at least put pants on.
I had completely forgot. It's a representation of who you are. Not only that, but I mean, in that industry, and specifically in New York City, like that role of site safety manager holds such heavy weight. There's so much responsibility. Yeah. I mean,
to show up
and with the role that I'm in, I at that point anyway, I expected a level of professionalism, and that wasn't it. You know, for me anyway.
I'm kind of glad you brought that up. Because now I went from site safety manager. Now I'm a safety director now, and I definitely, like, right before I went into that position as a director, I completely changed my wardrobe. Not to say I didn't dress appropriately. I always wore just like a general, a polo shirt. Yeah. But I felt like, especially being in a position like that, it is showcasing, like, I'm going to be presenting to myself as somebody as leadership, and I want to lead by example at the end of the day. And I saw your wardrobe changed over the years too. I saw a transition there too.
It definitely did. I mean, let's see. So 2019, I had been the director of operations for Aurora, I guess about a year, because that's when we had started Netflix. And I was still, I was also in a director role before that, but it was different. I was in the safety role.
Which I can't believe. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I can't see a safety. You're not a safety guy. You fit the operations role, like, just. I'm not even trying to toot you up. I'm just saying, like, you really fulfilled that position appropriately.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
I know it was a stepping stone. Like, it was something that needed to be done. I mean, for Aurora at the time, there was no safety department. There was nothing. It didn't exist. So it was, the owners had asked me to do this as a necessary step, was to make sure that we have safety and compliance set up, that there was a process, that we had standards.
Of course.
And that we were hitting those standards. And then once that was under control, then we could talk about operations and construction. So that was like a necessary step.
But every general contractor and companies really do go through that phase when their company has grown exponentially, and they have to say to themselves, oh man, we're lacking in the safety department. We actually need a safety physical person that's going to guide us through that. Because when I got to Netflix, one of the things I noticed immediately, I was like, okay, they need this stuff and they have to start getting this. But then I also watched the evolution from Netflix and where Aurora put their standards as safety. And it was just like within, I think, 2 years, maybe even less, that it just, you guys had it down packed. This is the way it's got to be. And for somebody like me as a third party consultant, I didn't work, I didn't work under you. Well, I worked under you guys, but I wasn't employed directly by Aurora. But to be part of a GC like that was, you have no idea what a pleasure that, like, for somebody like a safety guy saying, oh, I can breathe. I can breathe here. God.
No, I mean, especially in New York City, because there's just so much at risk every day and the projects are so complicated that for me, I always wanted to partner with the safety managers, especially the ones that had the right attitude, meaning that they wanted the job to be safe, they wanted to be compliant, but they were also logical and reasonable, and we can have a conversation about how to exist in these two worlds of getting the job done, but getting it done safely and protecting the workers and protecting the public and thinking about all these different things that we needed to account for. It was such an incredibly important role, but always felt it needed to be a partnership, and it wasn't. That wasn't always the case on every project before I took over.
When I worked, before I got to Netflix with you guys, I went through such a. I bring it up because it was it was the most fragile portion of my entire life. I was actually, like, when I first met you, maybe like 30, 40 days sober. And I'm already thinking in my head how to reframe my whole entire life. Prior to that date, the last job I was on was the worst job I ever managed in my life. The most dangerous people working. John, I couldn't even. When I heard the crane was showing up that day, I literally couldn't sleep at night because it's just the iron workers they had. It was appalling, and it's just like. So I went for 2 years on that project, and then I get to Netflix and I see this team. I see Aurora. I'm just like, wow. I'm like, and I didn't even think I signed the PW. I didn't even like officially sign everything. I was like, okay. And I really think it was a blessing for me because prior to that too, I worked with just so many difficult contractors where they saw me as like just a giant barrier, where Aurora's approach, your approach was, you never lied to me. You never tried to get one over on me. And if there was something that had to be done, you would tell me straight up. You're like, Dan, I hear what you're saying, but this is what we're going to do. You're on the same page. I'm on the same page. We know what we're taking a risk on. And that's all I think I could never ask for, because like you said, like, realistically in construction, I could sit there and say, yeah, you got to do it by a book. Nothing ain't going to get done. Nothing's going to get done. And it's not to deter the safety between people. There's something like that, and then just negligence. And negligence is obviously like somebody's going to get killed or seriously injured. There's a fine line there. And I think you knew how to balance that with me. And I think that's why we both thrive working together.
Yeah, I mean, I think like there's these two worlds. There's like... Not these two worlds. There's the different spectrums of safety where like you have like gross negligence. Everybody's on board with that.
Yeah.
Right. The harder part is when you're in the gray, like when you're operating in that gray area where it's easy just to say, well, here's the code. Right. All right,
yeah,
that's
boom.
Great. But I have a really complicated building with millions of moving parts, and it takes years, and we have all these different stakeholders that we're trying to satisfy. Finding people that can, and it's not even just for safety. I mean, this is construction as well. The people that are really sophisticated, I shouldn't say sophisticated, that are successful in this industry are the ones who can operate in the gray and say, okay, here's the code, here's what it says, here's the spirit of it, right? We want to keep people safe, but I also have to get a job done, and figuring out how to bring all those things together in a way that accounts for everybody's wants, needs, and doing it without, code aside, doing it without hurting anyone. Like, forget the code, but doing it, making sure that you don't hurt anyone at the end of the day, so the people that can live in that gray space excel in construction, number one, but specifically in safety, and specifically in New York City, where there's a myriad of different codes, some of which make absolutely no sense. I mean, that's the reality. They don't.
Listen,
that's the hard part.
We know. I think we know truthfully why certain things are. There are some codes like, yeah, that should have been in there. Like, it's funny. When I was doing like landmark buildings, I knew it was a landmark building because the guardrails of a staircase would be literally at 30 inches. I'm like, what? People were smaller back then? Like, but you could fall literally right over the stair. But that's how things were designed back then. But obviously, people must have got hurt, and then all of a sudden, you're bringing the rail all the way up. But the reason I mentioned this stuff about the sobriety and stuff was that I was such in a fragile state. And then when I got on board with you guys, the last thing I personally needed in my life was a contractor that was going to fight me tooth and nail about safety. And not to say there wasn't maybe, I don't even say arguments, just maybe heated discussions, but the result was still get the job done. The employees were safe at the end of the day. And we achieved that, but it was such an incredible thing that I got that job with you guys, and I maintained a relationship well over 5 years with Aurora. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we were able to be a positive. I mean, for me, beyond the construction, like just to hear that, I'm happy that it was a positive for you. You know, it's usually construction, and I think it was usually a negative in most people's life for the most part.
But you have to be miserable.
But no, in all honesty, you know, it was always instilled in me that the company should be run like family, and to me, that extended beyond the company itself to all the people that we interact with at every level, and yourself as well. So I always wanted to treat you as and family in that process.
You absolutely did. I mean, to the point of like, to the point where you would get Aurora clothing, and you would just, hey Dan, like you literally brought a box in, and like everybody's diving in, and you're looking at me, you're like, go take some stuff. But I don't, And the other thing too was like, I laugh at this one because it's funny. It's like, we removed the outside trailer of the building, and it was time to get inside the building. A lot of, when the building is erected, get rid of the trailer because we got to do the street work, whatever, sewer. And that's what happened. And you guys bought this, not bought, I don't know, you rented out the most crappiest guard shack. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, I don't even know what year it's from. It wasn't even like, okay, it's like, I've been in like a guard shack that's like, okay, like, it's fairly new. This thing was not. And like the door still had one of those old school like springs on it. But you guys put me in your bullpen area, which is never, ever, ever happens. Like there's a reason why like I felt like there was always a separation between the safety guy and then the general contractor. But I felt like the relationship that I had with you and everybody I worked with Aurora, it was like, no, Dan, like set your desk up here. You're not gonna be in that stupid thing. Like it's just, that's ridiculous. And it just, you guys really did treat me like one. I worked directly for you, like guys. Like I was an Aurora employee. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really felt that way, especially, once we finished Netflix and. Did we go to Belmont right after that?
No. So in between, it was a little lag time. I was a little depressed.
I can't remember what was going on.
There was a little lag time. So what happened was there was like maybe like 3-4 months where I was jumping around, and then you were able to find a spot for me in Queens for a little bit, and then from Queens, you knew I was going to transfer over to the Belmont parking garage, and then what would be the Belmont Retail Village.
I forgot about there was some downtime in between. But yeah, I mean, I had worked with okay safety managers, and some I trusted, and unfortunately some I didn't necessarily trust. But with you, I felt that you were truly, I treated you like you were part of the company because I felt that you operated like you were and put the interests of our company first, just like I would or anybody else. And because of that, I trusted you implicitly. So to me, it was important to maintain that relationship so that knowing that Belmont was coming and knowing that one would be fast and in the public, so it would be higher risk. I wanted somebody there that I could trust I felt was an extension, not only of Aurora and the company, but specifically the operations department and safety. I mean, you knew how we ran things.
Oh yeah,
you knew how we operated. So it was like, for me, it was the advantage of having like a company guy there without having a company guy.
And I think there's a really good topic of conversation. So like you were saying, like certain safety individuals. So like I'll tell you, like when I was first trained, and I guess I got the lay of the land of being a safety manager, but it goes back to also like that job site that was an absolute nightmare. If a general contractor is going to mistreat me, what incentive do I have to take care of them?
Of course.
What incentive do I? You're not going to even try to play by the rules. Like I can't. Why would I even sit there and put my license and my name against saying, yeah, I back these guys up. They mean well. You know how many times I have an inspector and they're like, go take care of that? I'm like, I'm going to make sure they take care of it because I knew I can get headway with you guys. Like, guys, like, they're not going to write you up. Just go take care of it. And it was taken care of. It's again finding that gray area. It's in that you operate in that gray area, and it's not as cut it is. Because in the beginning, when I was maybe being more catering to you guys, my supervisor, hey, Russ is probably gonna. He's definitely Russ. I forget about it. He still calls me this day. He listens. He listens. So Russ will call me. It's like we don't do anything. We don't hang signs. We don't do this. We don't do any of that. We don't make ID badges. Nothing. And I'm just like, okay, I got it. We're just report. But then Russ saw how Aurora was to me, and when he covered the job and scared the crap out of everybody. He saw that you guys meant well, and then when he knew I was doing additional stuff, which for me it was like hang signs up. What does that take for me to do? But it's not my job role. But this is a team. How's the team gonna? In my eyes, like how are they gonna succeed? What's gonna make your life easier, the superintendent's life easier? And then when I go up to him, like, come on, fix that. Like, let's. And I feel like that has to go hand in hand. I don't think that's something you can be directly taught off the bat. I think it's just you got to know how to navigate the waters. Because I've been removed and fired from job sites because I was too strict. It's too strict. He didn't know how to communicate with the workers. It's just, and that's another element that goes hand in hand with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, especially when you're in a new team and you're feeling each other out, it's important to show that you're willing to pitch in. So listen, it's no secret. As important as safety is for the GC, it is just as important to get the job done because there isn't a next job if you don't get it done on time. Like those things are of equal importance, and yeah, it's hard. It's a difficult conversation, but when we say safety is the most important, well, the problem is when you say that with the wrong person, not you, but other people, right, like with the strict interpretations of that. Well, that without any flexibility, where that doesn't leave any room to actually get the job done in a way that satisfies all the stakeholders. And let's be honest, if you don't satisfy the stakeholders, there is no next job. Yeah. We don't even have to worry about safety. So it's important, I think, like I would say to the guys on the job, you need to show the site safety manager that as much as you care about getting the job done, you also care about safety. It's also your priority. Make sure that it's not just on him, it's on you as well. If there's something wrong, I'm coming to you first, not him. Like, you're a backstop. Vice versa, though, you also show that you were willing.
Passion.
Like, I'm passionate about getting things done the right way.
It's true.
And they did. The guys did.
It did. It's all of it, and especially in New York City, you and me definitely know the clock is ticking every single day, every moving part. And as much as like I tell them, like, you're gonna have forget about does this need to get I always think about the question, does this need to get done at this very moment in time? Do we have time? And for some reason, at every given time, everything is on fire. I don't know. Some reason that needed to be done there. And the thing gets done, and I'm like, oh, well, we got to wait 3 weeks for the iron workers to finally show up to do the next part. I said, oh, okay, so there was no fire. So there is this balance of production, getting the job done. There's so many moving parts. And yes, it costs money, and people need to make money. So it is this crazy, and now you're making me really think about it. It is a really crazy machine. There's an EMR rating. If you have so many accidents within your company, you think you're gonna get the job? You think the client's gonna be like, oh yeah, no, they're good. No, and that's another thing. It's like how many recordables you have. All these things where the average worker is not thinking about it. They think, oh, John, make sure you wear your hard hat today. Like, no, that's the least of my problems if you not know where you are at.
No, I mean, yeah, right. Like if you don't run a job safely, you might get away with it once. At least in New York, anyway. You won't get away with it twice. Egregiously anyway.
Yeah.
Because at least if you're working for reputable
100%.
companies, developers, because that carries with you between insurance, licenses, and every other thing. It just becomes cost prohibitive. Obviously, there are companies that get away with it. We know that, but that's still a limited runway. For any company that wants to be in business for the next 20, 30 years and cares about their reputation, that's not a viable option to just throw caution to the wind and say that, the hell with it, we just got to get it done.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't mean to have this massive safety discussion. I invited you on here because multiple reasons. Obviously, the relationship that we had, and I always loved talking to you. I always admired your mindset, and it was very interesting, John. Because I follow you on LinkedIn, and that when you left Aurora, well, you know what? I want to back it up. I actually want to go through your story before we even get to that. Let's start from basic. What high school did you go to?
Okay.
We're
rolling all the way back.
It's
okay.
Kind of part of the podcast is a journey. I want to hear your journey of like where your course went, John.
All right, 4 we wind it all the way back to the ripe old year of 2006. I graduated from Connecticut High School in Bohemia. At that point in my life, I was sold on the idea of pursuing architecture. So graduated from high school. That fall, I went to NYIT in Old Westbury, New York Institute of Technology in Old Westbury, and I was enrolled in the architectural engineering program, which is basically a mix of construction management and architecture. And you reach this point in the program about halfway in, where you have to decide if you're going to commit to architecture as your profession, and in which case you do 5 years. You do another year.
You had to make so basically you had to make a major life decision, whether this is yes or no. How old are you?
I started college I had a late birthday, so I was 17, 18. So I was probably like 19 years old. Maybe 19 20. I was maybe 20. I think I was like 19.
It doesn't matter. 19, 20. That's a very so you're telling me you had to basically yes or no to this program.
Yeah, you had to decide whether you were going to pursue an extra year and follow architecture professionally, and then more than likely after that you'd pursue a master's degree, so then you could spend the next 10 years getting licensed, hopefully getting licensed, or the last 2 years of your 4-year program would be focused on construction management engineering and less on architecture and design. At that point, it was like 2008-ish, so economic outlook was not great. And I saw people graduating that were doing the 5-year and all these different things, or people who had master's degrees in architecture that were working at ShopRite. So I said to myself, maybe I should forego all this extra schooling, and I don't see myself sitting behind at least at this point anyway, sitting behind a computer all day long.
I don't see that. Well, I don't know.
That changed.
That changed. I don't see myself all of a sudden now, boom, back where you started.
So I said, all right, let me finish this program, and I'm going to focus on construction management engineering. At that time, I also knew I needed an internship because I had really no background in either, other than like remodeling my house with my dad, who taught me a lot. I mean, like I learned a tremendous amount, but like that wasn't gonna help me.
That's the real that's the real stuff. Yeah.
Listen, it helped me to this day. So.
Hold on one second, because I just have such a funny story. So I'm remodeling my house right now, and
my condolences.
Thank you. Our upstairs bathroom has not been touched for over a year and a half now, and it's to the studs, and next to is my bedroom and the kids' bedroom, and yeah, there's just subfloor, and it's been a mess because we could not figure out the design. But I had a contractor come over, and he looks at the ceiling, he's looking at the framework, and he's looking like, who the hell installed that? I'm like, my father. I'm like, but he's really good. What are you talking about? He's
What's the problem? You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you know what you're talking about. It's my father. But and one of the houses I remodeled recently, my dad's like, I want to check it out. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna come. I got the general contractor that flipped the whole thing for me, and I see my general contractor, Anthony, and I'm like, I brought my father. Please, let's. And listen, my dad actually gave good pointers, and he listened to him. But it's just, I love the father dynamic and stuff because I get it. It's his work.
I mean, it's funny. Once I gotten older, and I was not to go too far off subject.
No, go ahead.
Side
No.
story. Once from as long. Once I was old enough to hold like a hammer and a shovel, I was like working with my dad. But like by the time I was like, 16, 17, I had done enough with him where I was like, Dad, what the hell are we doing here? Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we've been standing here for an hour. Like, let's just do this. It's cold as hell. Like, I want to go back inside. Can we finish this? But he had the vision in his mind that was going to be this way. And there was no changing it. And I was along for the ride.
Is your father Italian?
Irish.
Oh, wait, McGowan.
Well, it's Irish and Italian, but it's mostly Irish.
You now say you're Italian. I don't know. You got McGowan. It's, yeah.
But I digress. So back to the original story here. But yeah, learning how to work with your hands is invaluable for a number of reasons. So at that point, I was looking for internships. And my dad said to me again.
Go ahead. No, the only times I bring up my father, don't worry. Just keep going.
He's like, if you want to find work, he goes, you need to go everywhere everybody else is not. He's like, people don't put in the effort. They're lazy. They go to the company that everybody knows. He's like, if you want a job, you need to open, at this point, still had phone books. Google's still relatively new. Open the phone book, email and call every single company under construction and architecture or that you can find on the internet until you find something. I was like, okay. He's like, it's going to take time and effort. It's not just going to fall in your lap, especially at that point with the way the economy was.
Yeah.
So I went through the phone book and I went online, and I mean, I didn't get any jobs or internships at that point, but there was one company that had emailed me back, Aurora Contractors, and this was 2008, and they said, we don't have any openings right now, but we'll keep your resume on file. And there were a number of companies that got back to me and said the same thing. Just as many that never got back to me at all. And I said, okay, great. Yeah, sure. They're going to keep my resume on file. Like you and everybody else. Right.
Yeah, sure.
So the next 2 years passes. It didn't get any internships.
Did you work? Did you do, what did you
I was working odds and ends at that point.
Okay.
I was working odds and ends, and my parents.
Still work with your father?
Yeah, still working with my father. My parents, I was fortunate enough, my parents were helping me out in between.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at like the kitchen in a hospital. I worked at Toyota. I worked at Walmart.
It's very hard to envision somebody. I just keep going. Just keep going. I can't envision it, but go on.
Yeah. Let's see. Toyota, I was like the shop janitor, like sweeping floors, cleaning up brake dust and grease, and that was my job. Walmart, I was doing like oil changes and tires and stuff like that. But you're a college kid. You do what you got to do. But
I love this, by the way. I love the knowledge. I didn't know this, all your background. I love it. That's the whole point of this podcast. I'm just learning from you.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I was fortunate. My parents, there were definitely gaps in there that my parents helped support me through. So I'm very, very thankful for that.
Yeah.
So it was a month before May 2010. It was like maybe 2 to 3 weeks before I was graduating from undergrad. I didn't really have any job prospects at the time. And with the span of 1 week, I got an interview and an offer to work at the DOT doing bridge inspections, which they were like, all right, there's a lot of overtime. You're a new kid out of college, it could be good for you. It's experience. Okay. And then like, I said, okay, I'll get back to you. And then like a couple days after that, I don't know if it was an email or call, I can't remember, from Aurora. And they said, hey, remember you sent us your email, your resume a couple years ago? I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, we have an opening for a project administrator. One of our administrators, she's leaving to go to China to adopt a son, and she's going to be gone for 6 months. And would you be willing to come in for an interview?
What?
Yeah. I mean,
Wow. I mean, God. Okay, keep going, John. I mean, I did not expect that a story like that. Somebody's like, yeah, this is the reason why we need somebody.
I mean, and I'd find out later in life that I'd be fortunate with a few of those kind of opportunities. But so I came in, interviewed with Anthony and Frank, who were the owners.
The original, is it the OG Frank or the young Frank?
Frank Jr., the son.
Gotcha.
Senior wasn't in the room. I met with Anthony and Frank. It was a quick interview. I think it was probably like a half an hour. And eventually, like a couple days later, they offered me the job. So like after all that, I ended up graduating with the job in the industry with a great company. So I went from, and I remember I was on the phone. I took the call when they offered me the job. I was standing in the driveway where we were pulling cars in and out of the shop to Toyota with a broom in my hand.
You just walk out.
And at this time, I was talking to recruiters in the Marines because I said, if I can't find work, I'm going to join the military. I'm not going to keep sweeping floors.
Even though the education that you went through, you were ready to join the service?
I just psychologically, for me, I figured and it would be better. There's benefits. I'd rather go serve our country for 4 years than keep sweeping floors at Toyota. So I was in this weird space of like, what the hell do I do? Like, I got to do something. Like, this can't be it. Like, I can't. It's not it. I can't keep taking garbage out every week with a bachelor's degree in architecture. So, it was this interesting series of events going on.
I freaking love it, man. This is awesome. Keep going.
So, and this would be the first time that Toyota actually threw me a going away party. So I think I started with Aurora like June 1st, I want to say, or something like that.
What year was that?
This was 2010. Oh no, May 15th, I think was my first day. May 15th or 25th, but it's 2010.
So this is why our paths align. My first day in commercial construction as an apprentice was June 2nd, 2010.
Oh wow! Okay,
that's why I'm like, oh man, me and John are just right on the same path.
We started down the lonely and cold road of construction.
Oh my God, man.
So they threw me a nice going away party, and they surprised me. Like, what do you? I'm leaving you. Like, you need to hire somebody. I'm like, why are you throwing me a going away party? And,
you're the best janitor.
And they were like, and the manager comes. He is a really nice guy. By the way, the first manager I had when I started working at Toyota, I wasn't sure I was going to make it through the job without punching him because he was an extremely unpleasant human being. He was very unkind to me. It was just like, let me take advantage of this kid, and it was just horrible to me. And I'm very happy that he left. I walked in one day.
What deal was it? The Oakdale one?
No, it was Middle Island. Okay. It was Middle Island. And I remember the day I walked in and he quit, and I was like, thank God. I was so relieved. And the gentleman that took over he was the first time I had a nice boss who actually cared about the people who worked for him. And it was because of him that they threw the going away party for me. And then I needed to recommend. I was also at this time still considering getting a master's degree while I was.
So a lot of stuff is going through your head at this moment in time.
There's always a lot of stuff going through my head, Dan. I mean, there's one thing like there's always a lot of stuff going through my head at any given time.
It's always a mess, right?
So he had wrote me a recommendation, which was like, he really appreciated the fact that I came in every day knowing that this wasn't going to be a long-term solution for me, that it was a temporary job, and they gave 100% and tried and cared. And that's when I connect, like in that going away party, it really solidified for me, like, no matter what you do, you have to care. Like, you have to show up and care, even if you know it's beneath you and that there's more in store for you, and maybe it's not the right job at the right time, is that if you care and it will come back to you in time.
You know, I'm glad you explained that. I was going to pause you right there because this is the stuff I try to say on my podcast, to reach out to people. It doesn't matter what you do. If you got a job, do it 100%. Don't cut corners. Like you said, care. And that will speak in volumes. And how many employees have we interacted in our lives? Let alone like I must have done over 10,000 safety orientations, but I think I have a good judge of character 9 out of 10 times where I could see somebody like he's going to be a good person in the field, and I'm a little worried about that one, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you want to treat everybody with respect because that new boss saw your true character, and it didn't matter what you were doing. It already spoke in volumes, and it like I just love it because it didn't matter. It just the job at Toyota, great. Give me I'm the janitor, great. I'm gonna do it 100%. Oh, I'm whatever it is, I'm gonna do it 100%, and that's what sets people apart. That's how you were able to set apart and be recognized for it.
Not only that, but I mean, you don't know. I wasn't savvy enough at the time because I was just a kid, but you don't realize where the next opportunity is going to come from. And later, I mean, this is what ends up leading me to where I am today, but you have no clue who you were going to run into or who's going to see what you're doing and where that's going to lead. And if you're not giving on that day, you decide, listen, nobody's perfect every day. Don't get me wrong. We have good days and bad days. You can't be 100% all the time. But if you're consistently not showing up and not trying and not giving a damn, then you're likely going to miss that opportunity when somebody who might have recognized you.
To go back to our prior conversation, the guy showing up with sweatpants.
Yeah,
it's stuff like that where people become lazy and all these things, and then you hear from those people, well, he was lucky. No, I think my percentage of luck is probably like 1% of like what actually is entailed, what people call luck. I wake up every single day saying, you know what? I'm going to look my best. I'm going to do my hair. I'm going to wash my face. I'm going to take a shower, wash my face, brush my teeth. I'm going to put the right clothes on because whoever is going to see me that day, that opportunity can literally be a handshake away that you have no idea who you're impressing, who walks into the Toyota dealership saying, you know, I want a car, but it is literally such basic stuff that you think people like, oh, you learn about that. But no, it's the initiative part. And like, you're so lucky. No, I'm not lucky. I was ready for the opportunity that was presented to me. And that's when I got cleaned up, I was like, yeah, I got to show Aurora really what kind of safety manager I truly am. I got to showcase it. Not even for just them, myself. Show up to the job on time. Don't show up late. Because there were times like I'm the safety manager. I can show up a little late. They can't start without me. I'm the guy. And it was such a shit mentality by far until I got better. I was like, the reason that your life is in this cycle and everything is because the bad decisions and you keep cutting corners and thinking that the world owes you something. No, what have you shown the world?
You have to earn your way, no matter at all times. It doesn't matter how far you've come, how advanced you are in your career. You have to earn your way at all times. And I'm not saying that personally, but you need to also show others, especially if you're in a leadership role, that you're still going to pull the weight, that you're willing to earn the respect of those around you all the time. And there's a great book that I like to read, Team of Teams. One of my favorite books on leadership. It was written by General Stanley McChrystal. And he talks about how when they were building a more integrated fighting force during the wars in Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan, that one of the things he did was he assigned, and I forget exactly what his title was, but there was a gentleman who was a very sophisticated soldier, and he signs him basically to another unit that they need to integrate with, but he says, just do whatever you need to do in the terms of service. I'm not doing the story justice, but he would take out garbage and do whatever was necessary. I mean, this is a highly trained, God knows how many millions of dollars the U.S. government has invested in this person, right? But just to show service and earn their respect because he needed these teams to work together and there was no bond yet. And he just wanted him to build the bond through acts of service and earning respect. And I mean, that resonated with me. Like, okay, like if this guy's taking out garbage to show that he's willing to build respect with a team and do what he can do to pull his weight, then we should all be thinking that way. And even more so as a leader.
Any person that goes, well, that's not my job, that's beneath me. All I hear is excuses. You're not a team player. You're not somebody I want to be. I don't even want to work with you. When I hear those words come out of people where that's beneath me, what is going to get us to the end result? Is it going to involve me pulling out the garbage as the safety guy? Sign me up. Remember that one time on the roof, the inspector was showing up? I didn't have to go clean up with you guys, but I cared enough that I wanted the inspection to go well. You remember that? We were cleaning the whole room. The whole room.
We did whatever we had to do.
No, exactly. Russ will be so mad. But I do want to mention a good story, and I love this story because similar to your story, it resonated so well. Do you know who Jimmy Iovine is? I think that's his name.
No.
He's a big-time record producer. He worked with Dr. Dre. He actually formed Dr. Dre Beats headphones, and I could be a little wrong about that, but basically, he has done all the major music stars of all time, and I'm going to explain how he got his job. He was just no experience in the record industry, nothing, zilch, and this is the 60s. And he was just trying to find a job, so he found being a janitor at a record studio. And he would watch and see what's going on as he's cleaning. And one of the engineers quit. And it was Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving or Christmas, one major holiday. And the engineer quit. And he gets the phone call saying, do you know how to run the studio? Do you know what's going on? He's like, I have an idea. He's like, are you able to come in on, it was Thanksgiving. He's like, can you come in tomorrow on Thanksgiving? He said yes. He was willing to act on the opportunity and just provide service at such a young age. Do you know who walked into that studio?
Who?
Paul McCartney. and John, I think John Lennon, the Beatles. They walked in, and you can't make that up. And there's no like, oh, formula. This is what needs to happen.
I mean,
right?
It's the same thing with like people who are very successful in business, and I mean, you'll hear this a lot, especially, but it's that combination of you need to put yourself in the best position for when those right times come along, right? And it's not guaranteed; it doesn't happen all the time, right? But when you're given that rare opportunity, if you're not putting in the work, then it's gonna pass you by. So I mean, like that success is that combination of luck of the opportunity combined with you doing the right things. And when those two things come together, that's where you get this explosive growth and changes in people's lives. And
that's what I love about you, man. I feel like we could just keep talking and talking about these integral parts. But I do want to keep on track with you.
Back to the story.
Back to your story,
right,
John.
Back to the journey. Sorry, kids. We're wandering. Okay. So where did I leave off? So we started, I'm at Aurora. It's June 2010. I'm at Aurora now, so I am working as a project administrator, which is basically just processing all the paperwork on a project. And I was going out. Anthony Higgins was my first project manager, so also part of the OG team.
I got a funny. I have a great, not a great story, but I have a story about him shortly. I don't know whether it's great or not. You'll hear it. It's nothing bad about him. It's just what happened.
So he was my first professional boss, which I was very thankful for. I learned a tremendous amount from him. Many lessons I take with me to this day. But I realized that like I knew I had to do the documentation, paperwork processing, like those were critical things I needed to learn. Like it's a necessary part of project management and construction. But I knew that if I was going to advance, I needed to be on the site. I needed to see the construction. I wanted to see it, taste it, smell it, feel it, all those things. So I needed to figure out how to get out of the office. So I went to him and said, listen, can I start coming on site more? And he said, yeah, sure. But you got to get your work done.
You need your OSHA card.
Yeah. Oh, back then it was like OSHA 10, as long as you had OSHA 10, you're good. I think at that point, our company safety manual, our official HASP was like 6 pages.
Nice.
And I think it started with like, please be kind, try not to smoke on site,
Just try.
It's a very different world.
Try.
So he said, yeah, sure. But, like it was an extra. Like that's a privilege. Coming to see the construction is a privilege.
And we're not, it's like you're asking for a shot and you're not expected to get paid more. You should not be expecting those things. You just want to have the opportunity, which Anthony's just like, yeah, but don't expect anything.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it meant meeting him at a park and ride at, 5 o'clock in the morning and all those things and working longer days. But over time, like, I tried to make myself valuable while I was on site. And over time, they were like, okay, well, if you're here, you're providing value above and beyond just being a project administrator. And eventually it was, all right, be on site 2 days a week, be on site 3 days a week until, all right, you're going to be here, move all your stuff. You're part of the team out here now. I mean, my role, especially back then, the company was very organic. We weren't big on titles, but I was basically filling in like as an assistant super and assistant project manager role. And I would do that for the next 2.5 years.
I think titles are so dumb.
I'm gonna. There's 2 sides to that story. Peter Mulhall will.
Oh my God!
Him and I had many conversations about this.
It's I get it. There has to be an arc. There has to be the layers. And trust me, I get it. And that's where people in those positions know who to report to before going. Not knocking on Anthony's door saying, "Hey, Bureau," and going like, "Hey, There's a problem in the field." Like, it's just, no. It's just, you need the layers, and I understand why. I just don't like them. It's a personal feeling.
I get it. Well, because so many companies and so many people misuse them. A title is a tool, like any other. When used properly, it's great, right? Yes. It conveys organization and hierarchy. But when it's misused, it's, well, that's not me, it's you. Well, that's not my job title. That's beneath me, right? And that comes down to culture, right? So you need to have the right culture, and that's where titles work, and that's where they're fine. Where it's okay, like we need to have organization here. You can't have people.
You changed my mind. I got you.
Yeah. Like you need those
right.
2 things.
No, you're right.
In combination. But
so what were you? What was the title?
I don't think I had a title. To be honest with you,
just John.
Actually, at this point, I remember joking about it. Like I don't even think I had a title. Like it was just. There was no title. I was the new guy to do whatever you need to do.
I love it.
There was no title, which was fine. I didn't care. I was like a year.
You're just happy to be in the field.
Happy to be in the field,
and just doing what you wanted to do something different and put yourself out there. That's it.
So anyway, I would spend the next 2.5 years there. I call those my formative years with Anthony. I learned a tremendous amount from him, and there were times where I would waver away from making my original job, which was processing paperwork and documentation, because I wanted to be more in the field, and he would remind me strongly of what it was a privilege to be out here, and that I still have to earn my way. So it was like those couple years were critical for me, and just learning what it means to get things done, how to be part of a team, and not even those first years. Those are probably the first 4 years at Aurora, and what it means.
It holds you up there, and not to toot Anthony Higgins' horn, but it's just you had the right mentor. You had a person that was guiding you in the right direction while you were figuring out. And like he said, do I need to remind you what you're originally here for? And people can literally take that information and say, well, wow, what a jerk. But no, he's building your character, because that's all I hear is character growth right there. And whether you're going to be able to take the heat on a construction site in New York City, you're able to hear words like that. It really... Because some people, you've seen it.
Yeah, Anthony and the super at the time was Hank Fontana, which I don't think you ever met Hank. But they were tough on me, but I'm thankful. I am thankful for it. I'm thankful for it. But again, like I showed my value there, and I ended up with rotating to other projects. And I was fortunate enough where, like those first couple of years, I got to see a lot of different projects, a lot of different styles of management and leadership. And every time I just said, how do I prove myself? How do I prove myself? How do I prove myself? I learned so much and got such a broad view, not only of the industry, but our roles, the company. And it would just pay dividends later on. I mean, throughout my whole career at Aurora, just having that broad context of what worked and also what didn't, and knowing what worked and what didn't would sort of, those years would build the base for me in understanding how to sort of craft my role in operations and think about things.
It's kind of like you need to know pretty much everybody's job and where how you got to that higher level, saying, okay, these are the pieces that need to be all together at the same time in sync. So if you haven't experienced what it's like to be in those positions, how are you supposed to manage all those people like that? I mean, it's just literally starting from the bottom, coming to the top.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, because I knew how all the pieces fit together, it was really helpful later on when it came time to sort of build a new puzzle. I needed to refit the pieces, but if you didn't know how to make them all fit, in the new world, so to speak, you had to know how they fit in the old world to figure out how to make them fit in the new world when you were creating things that didn't exist yet. And that started with safety. Like that was the first thing. It was the first thing.
Yes. No.
But anyway, so to get back to my story. So fast forward to 2014, I get put on a job as an assistant project manager. I have a title now, by the way. I worked in estimating for a year. I worked in estimating for about a year. I'd finished a project in the Bronx. Let me backtrack because I got to finish a project in the Bronx. There wasn't an immediate position for me yet because we were waiting for some new projects to start. So I went into estimating. Also great. Learned a ton there. But I would go into a project at Stony Brook University in 2014. And to this day, it was probably, other than the project that we worked on, was probably the most challenging, stressful project and time of my life. I almost couldn't take anymore. It was just, the project was so poorly.
Was this Staten Island?
No, it wasn't Staten Island. It was we were doing dorms and kitchens. But what ended up happening was the project went over budget, and they had this third building which had all the kitchens and dining, and they said, well, let's just smash this third building into this other building, and never figured out the design. So we were like figuring it out in real time in the field. So my role there was none of the mechanical systems fit in the building. Nothing fit. It didn't work. I spent a year, it was two 6-story buildings. I spent a year in a room with all our MEP contractors and the design and a member of the design team who would come and go, trying to figure out, I'm talking 5 days a week, in a model and plans, figuring out, move this ceiling 6 inches, move this pipe 2 inches, every single thing in the building until we got it all to fit. And then I would eventually handle all the MEPs on that project. But super stressful. It was a tough time. Finally got that project completed. And when it was done, Anthony and Frank came to me and said, listen,
is that how they approach you?
listen here. No, I'm just kidding. So they said, listen, you did an incredible job here. We don't want you on one project. We want you on all our projects. Okay, well, how do we do that? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to build the respect of all the people that are more senior to you. And we know right now we need to focus on safety and reducing our insurance rates. So we want to get more sophisticated with insurance. So they said, we're going to make you we're going to make you the first director in the company's history.
Wow.
Of safety.
OG.
Yeah. So of safety, risk management, compliance. We'll figure out the title later on. So to make you happy. So it's, and the hard part was at that point I had an OSHA 10. I had no particular exposure or preconceived notions about entering the safety world, but they said, you need to figure this out. We need to get more sophisticated. We need to be better, because we started competing with other larger companies who did have many, many different layers and levels of safety.
Yeah.
So they said, you need to build this thing, figure it out. So I spent the next 2 years figuring out how to build a safety department and what do we need to do and all the stuff between New York City, Long Island.
All of it.
Which was an incredibly humbling time to go from being like in the weeds as a project manager to then being on site and having people, as I would also why I had a lot of respect for you, having guys throw me out of the room because we don't need the safety guy here. Get out of here. So get out of here. What do I hear? So that's why I have incredible respect for you.
Thank you.
So eventually get through that, did that well. I'd eventually become the director of operations at Aurora.
You know, one thing I do want to mention about what was really good about Aurora's safety was there was always this thing, and it drove me nuts. Well, that's not how we do it in Long Island, and we're in New York City. I'm like, but you immediately squashed that by saying, this is a standard. I don't care where we are. Because when I got to Belmont, we were still operating like a New York City job site. That was it. There was no going around it. Like, you know, and I really love the fact that you just made that integrated into the company. It was like, made things much easier. Because your contractors already knew what to expect from you guys. You know, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things when I got into the operations role, which again, new title, this was a whole new department. I had to hire people. Everything was fresh. Was figuring out like how do we make things run more efficiently in the field. Like, and for me, it was right. Let's set standards. Let's not have different from Long Island as a city.
Right.
So that was 2018, 19, let's say, I think around there. I learned, again, tremendous amount. I hired a whole bunch of new guys out of college. Like, I learned how to hire, unfortunately terminate people, coach, groom. It was like
all of it.
Just an incredible experience. But along the way, I had realized that this was not going to be my future. As much...
Wow.
It's like 10 years in. I think it was about 10 years with Aurora. At this point, it was like just after COVID. So like 2021. We had just gotten through all the craziness of COVID. And I guess maybe at that point, everybody's reflecting on life.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I was incredibly grateful for my career in construction and the opportunities I had working at Aurora, but I just felt like this was not the future for me. Like 10 years from now, being at Aurora, and I probably would have moved up. I would have moved up more. I mean, I know I would have moved up more, but it just felt like there was more for me. I don't know what the hell it was. I just felt like there was more out there for me.
You're like me, man. I knew safety was not my safety. Being a safety manager at such a young age too was just a stepping stone for me. And my father said it to me very clear to me when he got his license at the age of 50, and he was a local 79 labor for X amount of years, and they made all the foremen take it, and then he realized, oh, I can actually make money just being a safety person than actually using my hands. But when he told me all that, it's like my dad worked his way up from delivering pizza to a mason to getting to that point. And then I started out as a safety manager. Realistically, I shouldn't have my license at 23. I'm going to be quite honest. It's true. No life experience. But anyway, it's about you. But it's what he said to me is like, you got to do better than me. There's just, you're not going to be a site safety manager for the rest of your life. And I already had that instilled, and I just knew about real estate, and this came about, the podcast and the studio. It's just like, am I ever going to be done? No. I'm never. And I think you're in that exact same boat. You're never going to be done, John.
Somebody asked me, "Isn't this enough?" And I said, "No, it's not. And it's not because I want more, just because I want to gain material things. I just want to look back on my life and say, I made something of myself. I'm proud of what I'm leaving behind. I mean, I think fortunately when you have that mindset along the way, you tend to gain and like material things, but wasn't my mindset. So I didn't know where I was going, what I was going to do, what the next step looked like. But I said, okay, if I'm going to leave construction, I need to figure out a way to open the door. I said, why don't I go get an MBA? That'll put me in touch with a lot of people.
Wow.
So I got my MBA on the weekends and nights for the next 2 years at NYU.
While you're the director,
we're working full time.
Wow.
While we were working at Belmont and all that crazy stuff. So that was like 22 to 23. Those 2 years, and while I was there, there was a gentleman who was the CEO of a travel company, or founder and CEO of a travel company called Fairportal. The brand was Cheapo Air. He was in my class, and we became friendly, and we're going to dinners and lunches and things. Little did I know that he was actually like interviewing me, like at the time.
You tested.
So we were just becoming friends, and we did. But he offers me. He said, at first he said, "I'd like you're great with people. I have a chief human resource officer position open. Why don't you come work for me? And I said, I'm very grateful, but I'm not a human resources guy. Like, that's not in my blood. Like, I appreciate the opportunity, but that's not me. So a month goes by and he says, okay, I'm starting this corporate strategy team. And I think you could be good working in marketing. He goes, you don't know anything about it, but I'll teach you. But you're good with people. You're smart. You work hard. You know a lot about budgets and project management. I think that could be useful. Do you want to come work for me? So I said I'll get back to you. That's a lot for me to think about. I mean, it's like total. I mean, it just couldn't be further from what we were doing at that point.
Well, let me explain my part of the story when it came to when you left Aurora, because I know you're going to get to that. You walk in the trailer. And I had the cutoff section of the trailer. You walk inside, I see you, and then you walk into my office, and then you turn around and close the door. I'm just like, what the what's happening here? And then he's like, I'm leaving Aurora. I'm like, oh, what construction company are you going to? And you're like, I'm not going to construction. What the hell are you going to do? And you're like, marketing. I'm like, what? You? But not to insult you, the two didn't link. It didn't link. Just like,
it was not an easy. I mean, it's one of the hardest decisions, if not the hardest decision I've had to make professionally, like in my career. But I knew it would open the door. I mean, I didn't know where it was going to go, what it was going to lead me to, but I knew it would open the door to something else. And honestly, the biggest thing that held me back from saying yes was knowing all the people that I had worked with, Aurora, all those people that I cared about over the years. That was the hardest part, was leaving them. Like, do I leave these people behind? I love working for them. I hired a lot of the younger guys out of college and watched them grow.
But yeah, you're part of Aurora's, what they built too, and it's much more than just being an employee. You're part of their Aurora's journey of what that company is today. And not to say you're taking all the credit, but it's like, it's really personal, because it's not just something you slap together overnight and say, hire this guy, and yeah, you're gonna do this. You had to figure all that out. You worked up the chain, and then you're like, this is my baby. These are my guys, and that's, I think, also why I admired you so much, because whenever we had to have that serious conversation, whatever happened when on the job site, or we had to get our heads straight, or it was TCO on Netflix, your huddles, and it was in you and Higgins. There was something about your energy when you delivered a message saying, this is who we are. We finish projects on time. We're all in it together. I know there's going to be like long hours. I mean, Netflix, we were working 7 days a week. We're working 16-hour days. It was insane. And I remember somebody said to me saying, I forgot what, at Belmont, they're never going to get TCO. And at first I used to be like that with Netflix. Like, they ain't going to get TCO. And somebody said to me at Belmont, we ain't going to get TCO. And I look at them, watch. They're going to pull a rabbit out of their hat. Like, there's no way. See you later. Like, it was just like, I knew what Aurora was built. And that is something I know you hold very dearly, because that's everything about your character, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was always like that resilience of wanting, like, just digging deeper and finding that ability to get things done. But it was really instilled at Aurora. I mean, like, we had this saying, if you want to finish a project on time, you have to will it. Like, you have to, like, just will it with all your being. You have to drag everybody and everything over the finish line. No excuses. Figure it out. Get it done. Like,
you had those conversations with me too, with certain subcontracts. Like, Dan, I'm gonna pull them through. We're gonna pull them through. It doesn't matter. And then after this, we're done. Like, you just like, they're never working for us again. I hear why it could have been so frustrating to delete. Not frustrating, but it's like you didn't want to upset them.
Yeah, I don't want to upset them. I felt that I owed a lot to the company and to Anthony and Frank for the opportunity that they had given me, but it's also my life. Like, I only get one shot at this.
We know of, but yes.
So,
by the way, I want to note something for this podcast. Before we started this podcast, John's like, I don't know if we're going to talk about Aurora a lot. This whole podcast was about that. So we do, but it is a major chunk of your story. It is a major chunk of your story, man.
It's a major,
yeah.
But like, all those things that happened at Aurora would, like, lead me to Google later on. Like I didn't know it at the time.
So obviously I'm friends with you on LinkedIn. I just see, okay, you left Aurora, and then I just see you went to that company, and then all of a sudden, a couple months ago, I just said Google. I'm like, well, how the hell did that happen? So, John, you got to give it to us. How did you become an employee with Google now?
So I'm working at the travel company, working in marketing, and a lot of we spent a considerable amount of money with Google and advertising. So that means I spent a lot of time working with our Google team, and I wanted to, I guess, really, as I always do, I always want to make sure that I show up best for. I considered them a stakeholder, and I was trying to prove myself to everybody that I can learn marketing. That I wasn't just like the construction guy. That I could figure this stuff out. And somewhere along the way, I had eventually learned enough where I felt I could apply to Google, and I felt that there was an opportunity there that I could build on what I had learned here and learned in the marketing company. I didn't think I would actually get it.
What was the time duration that you were in with that company to Google? Was it like just not even a year? Was it a year?
I applied to Google in June. So that would have been about a year and a half since I left Aurora.
So you figured out enough information to feel confident, like, to apply for Google. That's remarkable.
Well, I mean, if you're giving 100% to everything, and
your whole story, that's your whole story right now. But yeah, everything I dive into, I want to learn as much as I can about it. And I think it goes back to, like, if you want to position yourself for opportunity, like, go back to, you need to learn what it is you're doing. You have to, like, deeply care and yell at everybody,
and put it the time. Like, it's true. The difference, I mean, the biggest switch from construction to this was, like, construction, you could be more emotional, I guess, and you could be more aggressive in your approach, and that doesn't work in other industries.
I have to mention this. I have to mention this story. I'm not gonna mention. It's just like, I just remember one day I was so heated on the drive-in to coming into Belmont. I threw my bag down, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning. I was already pissed off, and I remember barging into the office and just letting havoc wreak. And it's just like, I've done everything in my power to avoid that emotional outburst, but it's something that was just a lack of sleep, new baby, all that stuff. Just
happens.
And then you walk in, you're like, what the hell is going on in here? But then it's handshakes, hugs.
Yeah,
we got a project, dude. We're not stopping here. We're workers. And everything was just like squashed within seconds. But it's just, I always loved, I know what you're saying, it's that dynamic where you can fight and yell and scream and say names, and it's like, is the job done? Great.
Yeah,
well, great working with you.
Great. Yeah,
great working with you.
Until tomorrow.
Until 6 o'clock in the morning. All over again.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about construction is you can, at least in the field anywhere, you can be who you are for the most part. You can sort of be who you are. But that doesn't work. That doesn't work when you move beyond construction. Like, I had to learn how to take all those things that made me successful, but adapt them to a very different environment, which was being in an office behind a computer in a corporate setting where there is no raising the voice or being aggressive, like all those. So you have to figure out, how do you convey your message? How do you get people to believe in you? How do you come across as authentic, but still get people energized? Like, how do you bring that part of you? Like, I'm passionate about things, but like, how do you bring that passion in a different way where
literally doing the opposite what you normally do?
Yeah. So it was a strange experience, but I as best as I could, I brought that to that job, and eventually, like, when it comes time, you're interviewing at Google, and they ask other people who knew me at Google that had worked with me, and they were impressed by me, and I think that's one of the reasons I got the job, because they don't often hire externally, especially with somebody with as little experience as I had.
Well, that's what was so mind blowing when I saw the name, the company, and the title pop up. I'm like, what did John do now? Like, how did that? But there's obviously this. You got that special something. I don't know what you call it, but you got it, man. It's just.
Yeah, but I think it's that combination of.
I think you would know how to adapt.
Yeah,
You know
you're right.
you know how to adapt. You know how to read that, and I think that's what also, again, being a great leader is, okay, here the environment's completely different here. You're saying you're going to multiple job sites, but you got to know that job site's completely different from the other job site you just been on, and you got to know how to. It's adapting to literally anything, and I think your specialty, man. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think it comes naturally to me, but also I learned it from Aurora too, and it would pay off. Like in my job at Google, it's a job where I work across a book of business. So I have about 20 different customers that I work with.
So what do you exactly do at Google right now?
Okay, so
we want to hear the Google story.
Okay,
now. After an hour in, I love it.
Yeah. Sorry, I could talk about construction all day. Yeah. So we should probably get to the Google part.
You should let's get to the no, it's all good, John.
Okay, so the job that I had interviewed for was basically it's a sales position, so also very different for me. I had never worked in sales before, so that's a whole nother ball game. But it's a sales position working with Google's AI products for advertising customers. Right, my job is to help customers adapt these products, figure out how to use them to help them drive sales growth.
And you're literally in the booming part of AI because everybody finally realized, like, I don't think you can ever pop on a screen right now and not see like AI. But AI has been around for so long, people don't even realize that it's been part of our lives, whether you knew it or not. It's just what my best of my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, is it's just basically a computer that learns from you.
Yeah, it learns from all these different things, and it can help in a number of different ways. I mean, it helps customers improve things that they could do by themselves. They would never be able to do what AI. I mean, it's a simple
It is
fact.
what it is.
I mean, like, I didn't believe it when I was I work with these products when I was on the client side. I'm like, this is nonsense. You're trying to sell me something that doesn't work. This is a ploy to get more revenue. I don't think it's going to help my company. Being on the other side now, yeah, listen, does it all work perfectly? No. But if you think that you're going to outperform AI as a person,
no.
You're not. But so many people. I mean, there's so many people that we encounter that it's like that trust, and I totally get it. Like that trust isn't there yet to say, like, let's let this thing do what it's designed to do with limited human interaction. It's tough. It's tough for me sometimes.
The whole space is tough because people are saying it's going to take jobs away, and it is. It's going to take certain jobs away. I feel like low-level jobs that, just like anything else, but it's the evolution of life and everything. Same thing with the automobile. When the car first came around, I was like, no way. All the horse farms, everything that's going to go out of business. The guys, that can't happen. I mean, we drive cars every day. We're in the initial change part where people need to be more convinced by it. And people are like, it's going to replace jobs. Yeah, but certain jobs, because I use AI all the time. I have no shame in the game, but because I have a very big problem with spelling and grammar, and it cleans everything up for me. And now I go back into it and clean it more up. But if I send an email or a message out through AI, whatever the contexts are, my professional background and what I have, it's me. There's you can't fake the person behind the computer, because at the end of the day, they're gonna be like, what do you know about this? And if you can't, because you have to able to answer what that computer is able to that you were given that computer information to spit it back out. But I know I'm speaking about one particular thing, but I know you have probably different other ways where information and data is being collected where they could say, here's your result. I don't know if I'm right.
No, you're right. It's a tool like anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, does it have vast capability? Yes. Are there concerns? 100%. Humans aren't going to be removed from the equation all of a sudden.
All of a sudden it's the robot world. No.
Yeah, it's not going to be a robot. I mean, listen, 200 years from now, I don't know. But at least right now anyway.
Not yet.
So
stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned. But I didn't know that I was going to end up like, I didn't apply to this job because I said, I'm
a master at AI.
I need to get into AI somehow. I just said, okay, like, I think this is a job, like, based on what I knew, that I thought I had learned enough that I could figure it out when I got there. But the interesting part is when I was doing my interview at Google, most of my time was spent talking about my experience at Aurora. They didn't care about my marketing background.
Just like this podcast.
Yeah, just like this podcast. It went just like this podcast because they were interested in the qualities that make you you. Do you care about people you work with?
God,
Are you a
man.
leader? Are you willing to dive in and figure out how to get things done?
So you just delivered your whole Google interview on this podcast.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's pretty much. I mean,
Wow, man.
because later on, the main interviewer would become my manager. He's like, listen, there's a lot of smart people. We can teach people about these products. The harder part is to find somebody who can work with anybody I put next to them, who can work with unhappy clients, who can deal with things that are complicated and adapt and learn. It's like all those things, that's what I care about. And because that's what they cared about, it led me all the time having to go back to my experience at Aurora during the interview process.
Wow. I mean, the fact that this is what they're looking for, it's not a skill where you can teach somebody. It's either, I feel like it's one of those skills, not skills, like it's a personality type. It's a person that is driven. Even you said to yourself, like, you've been with the company for 10 years and you knew you can still exceed up, but you're like, no, this is not, something's not, like, I have to do something different. And it's just, your brain is wired like mine, where I'm just like, what's the next avenue?
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to have a podcast show, but I knew at some point that I was just going to do something different. And it hits home with me personally.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know where this is going to take me. And I went from an executive position to, I'm an individual contributor here.
He's going to be the CEO of Google. I'm just kidding. Sitting up there, there's one of those talks with a microphone like that.
So for me, I put a lot on the line for this job in the hopes that it would lead to significant opportunity for me. And so far I'm very happy, but interesting enough, as I had mentioned to you earlier before we got started, but I didn't know, but 2 months after I'd started at Google, I end up on a stage in front of 500 people because they wanted me to retell this story of how did you get here from construction, to the entire sector that I work in. So it seems like everything always comes back to to anybody that's listening to this,
it always comes back to Aurora.
I think it comes back to, like, construction is such a unique industry, and I think for anybody that there's so many things you can take away and bring it to any other industry and be successful. Like the will to be successful in construction, that will and the character you need and the ability to work as a team, like that gives you a leg up. I personally believe. I think we're biased. I think we're probably biased, but it's a leg up.
It 100% is. Even like people I know that are home inspectors now, they all started as carpenters. I feel like a lot of people start out at some form in construction, and then there's just some people that stay in construction because they're that good, that are foremen and they're running crews.
Yeah,
and everybody finds their spot. But I really think it's like a form of character growth. It really is. And one of my ironworker friends, a few of them say it. They say it pretty often. And like, I went from college to becoming an ironworker, but I felt like when I became an ironworker, they told me how to be a man in some context, just like to maturity level of like, these are people that are waking up day in and day out at this grueling job, and this is what they do. And yeah, I just remember being in those days of just like, I was taking down the Domino's sugar factory, and there was no trailer. There was just a gang box, and it was -3 degrees on the waterfront. And I'm like, well, it's just like you take all this brutal force of like weather, guys, women, whatever it is, everything's just attacking you, and you're just like, just another day.
Yeah, it's just another
day. Just another day.
So before I went up on stage at Google, I had to get interviewed by this committee, and they're like, "Oh, tell me about yourself," and I go through it. And
aren't you exhausted, man?
At that point, I was. At that point,
wow,
it had been so. They put you through, when you first get there, you have to go through sales school, which was like 5 weeks. So you go through the school, and then I had just gotten out, like I was actually in my real job for like a week or two, and I was asked to start to prepare to speak on stage and go through the interviewing and this whole process. But they specifically again wanted like it keeps coming back to the same. They're like the reason why the reason they said the reason why we want you to speak to everybody is because not everybody is willing to do what you're willing to do, right? And we want people to feel inspired by the fact that you walked away from an entire industry and a profession and everybody you knew and compensation and all those things to come here and seek of another opportunity, something, whatever it is. You did all those things without knowing what the hell was on the other side. And they said, that's why we want you to talk to people. But I think that all just comes back to do what you got to do to get things done, right, man? I think it comes back to that at the end of the day.
100%. Yeah, I don't know. I know why they did it. I feel like I feel like I may know. I don't know. When you hear the stories of Steve Jobs, whoever it is, the major companies, Elon Musk, you hear about this certain point in their story where they literally put everything on the line. I don't know why it's always that. It's on the line. They quit this, they stopped that, they sold that company, they pulled out a mortgage and somehow that story is just like, oh my God, that's why they're here today. So I think it's that who knows, John, where you're gonna end up, man. Like I think that's why they wanted that, because it's taking that action and initiative to get the job done no matter what. It's just, like I said, I don't think that's something that can be taught. But I think it can be inspired. It can inspire people. That's why I love doing this podcast, because at the end of the day, I want people to feel good. I want them to be inspired. I want them to hear your story and say, damn, that's what John did. Maybe I should start sweeping the floors maybe a little bit better. It doesn't matter. Just do the job 100%. And man, oh man.
Yeah, you never know where life is going to take you, but you will not get to the best opportunities if you don't put yourself in the best position to take advantage of them when they come along.
I love it. You're not leaving here unscathed. This podcast did go long, but I think for all the right reasons. I couldn't be happier with it, man.
Definitely. I meandered there for a little while.
We'll cut it all up. No, John, it was so freaking awesome, man. To hear everything. Just had to hear you. Now it's unbelievable. Okay. Very simple, John. I'm going to ask you a question, and you just got to answer.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Favorite movie?
Ooh, Apollo 13.
Favorite book?
Team of Teams.
Didn't mention that. I'm going to read that. Favorite store to shop at?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Whole Foods.
That's a good one, man. Yeah. It's amazing. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Chocolate.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, ability to see the future.
That spoils it. No. Oh, man. You're going to spoil your life, man. No, come on. Are you the type of person, when you eat a hamburger, do you eat the hamburger first, then the fries? Do you eat them together? What's the operation there? I want to know what goes on there.
Who eats a hamburger one then the other? I mean, is life that sequential?
One of my friends, I watched him eat a hamburger one time, and I'm staring at him, and I noticed it a few times. So he would eat all the French fries first and then the burger. I'm just like, who's putting that much thought into that? I did. I'm like staring at him, and he's like, no, this is the perfect element of doing it. I'm like,
are you still friends with him?
Yeah.
To answer your question, a little bit of both. Like, life can't be that rigid.
Netflix or Hulu? Now are you biased?
I'm going to say Netflix because it's definitely got more of my favorite shows than Hulu, but still love Hulu, by the way.
Are you a beach guy or mountains?
Beach guy. It's Long Island. Come on. We're always going to love the water.
I don't know. I see the beard, man, and see mountain.
Guys with beards can't be on the beach?
I don't know. Just get sand in it. I remember having a beard. All-inclusive resort or exploring a city?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with exploring a city. The resorts are too confining.
I have kids. Because I used to love exploring. Now it's just like
I don't, so I can be.
you can still explore, my friend. What do you call cheese that's not yours?
Cheese that's not yours. Cheese that's not yours. I would say get your own cheese. Not my.
You're so close. Do you want me to give it to you?
I know.
It was on I learned this one from a commercial.
This is a good one. I feel like I'm gonna be. This is gonna be
pissed
obvious.
off,
I'm gonna
man.
be
You're
pissed off when I
nacho
hear this.
cheese.
Oh my god.
Yeah. How do you make a tissue dance?
How do you make a tissue dance? Light it on fire.
Nope. Put a little boogie in it.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
What's your secret talent?
Secret talent?
Yeah, something that you have maybe didn't disclose on this podcast.
I am excelling at digging holes in ditches. So if this whole Google thing doesn't work out, laborers, I'm looking at you. I'm coming back.
It's so funny. It's so funny you mentioned that. Because when I think about like, I remember I cleaned up this whole house that me and my dad were remodeling. My dad's like, "You're done?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You would make an excellent labor foreman." I'm like, I'm good. What was the last movie that made you cry?
Made me cry.
I can't see you crying,
I don't
John.
cry.
I can't. He doesn't cry. He's got a beard. There's no crying.
There's no crying. I would say a last movie that made
you emotional. How about that?
Tear up. I can admit to tearing up. Oh God, there was a movie I had watched
recently.
I don't remember what it was.
Pursuit of Happiness gets me.
Pursuit of Happiness was a good one.
I said Titanic last time.
We watched Titanic. Didn't make me tear up.
No.
That doesn't work for me.
No.
I don't remember what. Dan, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I will.
Please just call me at a random time and tell me exactly what it is.
I'll find an emotional movie tonight and send you a photo.
What was your first email address?
I think it was first name JMCGO. Yeah, it was like first name, first initial, last name, and like a couple numbers.
Fun.
I didn't have anything. Oh no! I'm sorry.
Oh, he does. No,
I got it. I got my first email. I was a kid.
Yes, that's the one I'm looking for.
I was into. I forgot about that. I was into Taz the Tasmanian Devil.
Tasmanian Devil.
So it was TazJM, my initials at AOL.com.
I love it. You know what my maybe you do. You know what my email that I have, and people like are blown away that I have it.
What's that?
I have DanielGiambrone@gmail.com.
How did you get that?
I was invited by my brother back in like 2007 when Google announced they were going to have email accounts. So you had to be invited to it. You only by inviting. And my brother, I don't know what he did. He got it and he had like 2 invites and he gave me the invite. And people are blown away that I have Daniel.Giambrone.
Yeah, you can never let that go. That one you have to.
I
take that one with you.
I'm
you
trying
have to
get rid
pass
of
that on.
I got the spam in there, man. Have you ever played Mario Kart before?
Of course. Who hasn't?
Okay, I don't know, John.
We don't trust those people.
What character do you use?
Yoshi.
That fits your personality. What's the strangest thing in your fridge right now?
Oh my God, we have all sorts of vegan things that you would never imagine are in my
fridge.
Are you vegan? I'm not, but
there's a lot of strange stuff going on. What is your guilty pleasure song?
Guilty pleasure song?
Yeah, it comes on. It's just.
Ooh, so I would say throwback to 3 Doors Down, Kryptonite. Still hits me to this day. Love that one.
Do you have a favorite band or artist?
Ooh, favorite band. I'd say to this day, I think Linkin Park is still my favorite. Like it just like came on the scene when I was a teenager.
Meteorcore?
Yeah.
That was like the highlight. The internet, it was just like, what's happening?
It stuck with me.
What's an overrated food? You hear like, oh, let's get this. You're like,
kale. Kale's overrated. I'm sorry.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve. Ooh, people not being on time. I might add 3 minutes late today, by the way.
Yeah, but you messaged me. I think you did the appropriate thing. But I know what you mean. It's not like I know what you mean. Guys that didn't show up to work and come in sweatpants, you might get a job. You never know. That's what happened to me. I kind of feel like I know this answer, but I'm still going to ask it.
Shoot.
What was the biggest risk you ever taken?
Leaving a
Leaving a
leaving a. I mean,
leaving a raw.
leaving a Ross.
Yeah.
It was everything I'd known, studied, done.
So what happened with me? I just want to mention this story, and it literally gutted me, man. And I told you, I think I told you about it. I just want to say it. So after Belmont, things wrapped up. I finished the job, and I was in limbo for a couple of months, and I was teaching, and I got a position offered with this company called CTI and Lexel, and I took the position, and it was like a week in, and I was driving upstate to our main office in Coymans. It was Monday morning, I remember. Monday morning, and it was snowing, and I get a phone call, and I see it's Anthony Higgins. And Anthony calls me, and he goes, Dan, how are you? How's it going? I'm like, great. I'm like, where's this going? He's like, we have a position in you at Aurora. I'm like, oh my God. Like I was, because I was waiting for the time, like when you were just going to say, Dan, come on, let's go. Like, but that really like, because I really wanted to be an Aurora employee.
I mean, I wanted you there.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I get it. But I was really gutted by that. I'm sorry, Anthony. I'm still am. And that's another thing I want to mention about like Aurora and everything. Anthony Vero, I couldn't believe how much of a gentleman he was. Like he didn't know me in a hole in the wall. But the fact that he came up to me and always showed an initiative and shook my hand, like that's a guy I want to be my boss. Like I always loved people. It didn't matter what position, who you are. He didn't even know who I was, I think, at the time. And then, I love people that interact. I feel like you're like that way too.
Yeah, I mean, so the company, they always certainly instilled in me, you treat everybody with respect. And it's just, I think when you do that, you lift people up. And why not do that? Like, why not treat people with respect along the way? I mean, and even for me, like, yes, I'm at Google now, and I left construction, and I left Aurora. I still love Aurora, and I still love construction. I just felt there was a different path for me. But
yeah,
like
you don't need to justify yourself. I think you did it in this whole entire podcast, John. You did it, man. I actually didn't ask you the final question. There was a final question.
Okay.
What do you call the red sauce you put on? What do you call the red stuff that you put on pasta?
Sauce.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure.
Wait. What's the wrong answer?
Gravy.
I wouldn't say gravy.
I don't know. There's people out there. I think it's a Staten Island and Jersey. And yes, I lumped those two things together.
I've heard the gravy before. Yeah,
you have.
I've heard from Italians gravy. I mean, my mom's Sicilian.
Has your mother said it?
I've never heard gravy before.
Good. Okay, you're good.
I mean, I've heard people say gravy, but I just assumed that was wrong. But there were other Italians, so I don't know.
John, we're at the end. I can't thank you for this story, man. And I'm so lucky I'm friends with you now. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen in the future, but I'm so happy I get to shake your hand. I get to talk to you still. And I know you mentioned me recently on the phone, like, don't be a stranger, and I shouldn't. And it's just, your story today was remarkable. And I think there's so much value behind it to anybody out there trying to get into construction. Anyway, it doesn't matter what industry, everything, the amount of value. And John, I really can't thank you enough for being on the show and be on your first podcast, man.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
And I'm happy that we stayed friends after all these years. And I look forward to seeing what's in store for us down the road. And listen,
try to hire me.
You never you never know where life's gonna take you, man. Know. So like, be ready to swim upriver at any time.
I'm ready. But John, before we sign off, you got a message. I know you delivered a lot of messages, but just a nice, clean-cut message, man, to people out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that if there's one thing I have learned over the last 2 years of switching careers and getting an MBA and doing all these things, is that you have no idea what is going to happen in your life. And if you lift people up along the way and you try to do the right thing and you work hard, things have a way of working out, even when they don't seem like it at the time, even when you're in a dark place and it doesn't seem like there's light on the horizon. You just have to keep pushing through it, because eventually it's there.
It's there.
You can't always see it, but it's there. So you just have to believe in yourself and believe that good things will come for you.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Tim.
That's it. We'll see you next time.